Hello there, you're watching The Pulse coming to you live from our studios here in Accra. Coming up this afternoon, the police is on a manhunt for armed men who attacked and shot a woman at Caprice here in Accra. We have details as the victim battles for her life on admission at the hospital. We'll give you the details shortly. Also, deep cracks within the New Patriotic Party NPP MPs as Environment, Science and Technology Minister leads a splinter group to block any attempt to oust the embattled Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta. We have details as the NPP Member of Parliament for Nyasotum urges the President to fulfill his promise to sack the Finance Minister after the 2023 budget is fully passed and IMF talks concluded. We'll get the latest on that. But why did the minority walk out of the censure process that could have achieved the same result? We'll get the answers here on The Pulse. An imminent collapse of the health sector is also looming this afternoon as government fails to pay insurance claims of National Health Insurance Scheme holders. We'll hear from the Association of Health Service Administrators, Ghana, as they demand an immediate reimbursement of outstanding claims to a vet shortage of medical supplies. It's all coming up here on The Pulse. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities Digni Lu, Affordable Safe Sanitation. Don't forget that we're equally streaming live on all of our social media handles. It's at JoyNews on TV, DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144. We are JoyNews, independent, fearless and credible journalism. I'm Lester Sogah. Stay with us as we bring you details of these stories. And this afternoon, Special Intelligence and Operations team of the Ghana Police Service are on a hand for a gang of armed robbers who opened fire on a vehicle at Caprice's new Aveno here in Accra. Viewers are warned that the footage taken by an eyewitness may be disturbing for some sensitive viewers as well. But on your screens now, excerpts of what transpired earlier in the day. A woman who was in the vehicle, as you can see in the shots there, was actually shot but did not die. A police statement says she is currently receiving treatment in the hospital. Let's bring you excerpts of that statement released by the Ghana Police Service on the latest incident as you have it there. Of course, very disturbing images for those of you who are still watching that video, but of course we can just get to the police statement and tell you what it is that the Ghana Police Service intends to do about this very quickly. We get that on your screens right now. Of course, you have that on the handle of the Ghana Police Service, indicating that the police are pursuing a gang of armed robbers who attacked and shot a woman at Caprice in Accra today, 9th December 2022. Special Intelligence and Operations teams have been deployed to trace and arrest the suspects involved in this, and we'll surely get them arrested to face justice. The victim is in stable condition and is receiving medical attention. Well, a while ago, my colleague Michael Niashale was at the scene of this incident. Here's what we found out.
We are currently in a live crime scene here at Caprice, very close to Kokomlemle traffic light. Now, what we are told is that this vehicle was at the center of that particular incident. So an Asian-looking woman in the driver's seat sustained several wounds from gunshots. Eyewitnesses tell us that there were several of those gunshots, some of which went through the tires that belonged to this Toyota Land Cruiser Prado, registered 2022, just this year alone. So the four tires belonging to this vehicle were all deflated by bullets, and then a final one went through the windshield here, this particular window, all the way to the driver. I understand that that got her fingers and some other parts of her body. She was bleeding profusely in a critical condition. The police tells us that she's been rushed to the hospital and is responding to treatment at the hospital. So this vehicle will be towed away by the police very soon here. But this is what exactly happened. Very gory, very traumatizing again for residents here. They tell me that this is new to this area. The vehicle was in traffic when it happened. What I've been managed to gather from eyewitnesses is that 4 gentlemen on motorbikes stopped her in her tracks and then first fired at the tires, making the vehicle immobile, and then proceeded to try and get access to the vehicle. We have a witness who saw every detail of that particular incident. He walked us through exactly what he saw and how it panned out. So he also wants to remain anonymous, so therefore will not mention his name. So, I mean, how did it start?
I heard a motor sound, pa, pa. I thought it was those kind of Okada riders who were just playing. So as I came out, I was like, nah, what I'm hearing is not that exhaust sound. It was a real gun sound, and it was heavy too. So I was trying to get close, and I saw 4 guys on a bike using AK, and they gave warning shots. They shot the 3-wheel, they shot 1 back mirror, and I think they shot the hands. So the hands were, the middle finger was off. So they just took, I think, 2 bags from the car and just moved out. No, I don't know her. I don't know any of them, but it's something that it just happened. Yeah, it's like a scene I'm caught too. So, yeah.
Can you give us a description of the victim here?
The woman, I think, if not those French, Chinese, Lebanese people, yeah, because from the look of her face, you won't say she's kind of those foreign people. Like she's a foreigner, but I don't know the particular country she is or where she came from.
We as well have an individual who was one of the first people on the scene, saw everything, at this time managed to give first aid to the victim, the occupant of the vehicle that was assaulted not long ago. Yeah, she joins me, walk me through what she saw. So you were there when it all started, right?
Yes.
I mean, how did it all pan out?
Okay, I was inside my room when I saw the warning shoot. Normally, I just think like it's a knockout. But the second one, I said, wow, this one there is amazing. Inside our house, then let me come outside. So when I come outside, I saw the 4 guys, 2 of them holding the gun, and 2 of them sitting in the motor. So when I saw that, I hid myself because I don't want them to see me. So I saw everything. They shoot the car in front of the glass. So after that, I said, bring the money, bring the money. So I don't know what to do, so I just know, let me hide myself so that I can see them very well. Normally, that is what I see. I saw their face, they shoot the woman which was dodging inside the car. She doesn't want to give the money. And another one to shoot. So that's when the woman gave the money to them. And another one of the guys went to the driver's side, shoot the woman's hands. So the reason why I came, I went there to help the woman because I'm a health worker. I don't want the woman to lose her life. So when I got there, I took the woman inside the car. So I was looking for a taxi so that I can send him to hospital or ambulance. But when I was giving them the number is wrong. So I did my best. So I gave the woman to one of the media cars that took him to hospital. That is what I see. There are 4 guys. They are very small. And if I see their face, I can even point to them. This is the one who did that.
So we'll come back and talk about the people involved here. But for the woman again, so what exactly was affected? I guess she sustained gunshots, right?
Yes.
So in what state? So her fingers, what other part of the body?
No, it's only the fingers. From this side. So when I go to that place, I hold this one. I just make it sure that this one will not fall down. Okay. Yeah, that's what I saw.
So what exactly did you give her? First aid, right?
Sorry?
I mean, what did you do for her when you met her, when you tried to move her from the car?
Get inside to the car. She was crying, help, help. So I opened the car. So I take him like I say, baby, you are taking a baby from, yeah, that's how I take him. So when I dropped him down and he said, "Madam, please, my phone." So I went inside the car and I picked the phone to the woman, and she was making a call. She was talking in Chinese language, so I don't understand that language. But I told her that, "Mommy, do you have anybody around?" She said, "No, she's the only one who is going." So I said, "Okay, let us send you to hospital." And after that, all the men around the area, everybody is coming to help. So I did my job as a health worker.
Okay. The forensic team of the Ghana Police Service is also here to gather some more details to bring the assailants to book, to unravel the story behind this particular crime scene. Finally, they are trying to tow this vehicle to any of the stations close by. What I'm trying to gather right now is whether the headquarters itself will handle the case or be left to the Kotobabi Police Unit to do this. I will definitely bring you some more details as and when we have it. For JoyNews, Michael Ashale.
And in just 4 days, the IMF staff team, led by its mission chief for Ghana, Stephanie Rodet, will end its mission to the country. They will have to be convinced about government's debt sustainability program in order to approve a bailout Wednesday. Chief Economics Officer and Director of Treasury and Debt Management at the Finance Ministry, Samuel Dankwa Atkest, says the country's drive to recover from the current crisis will be delayed and complicated if the IMF team leaves without an agreement. But with growing opposition to government's debt exchange program, the next 4 days will be crucial for the economy. We'll hear from the Associate Professor of Finance at Andrews University in the US, Professor Williams Pepra. But first, though, let's hear from the Ghana Insurers Association, which is seeking an exemption from the program. President of the association said Casey has been speaking to JoyNews about their concerns. We'll bring that to you shortly. But what we do know is that the Bank of Ghana has also issued a fresh directive to banks as it seeks to fast-track their sign-on to the program. So what you have now, excerpts of that letter, of course, from the Association of Bankers. Of course, it's under the title Policy and Regulatory Reliefs for Banks to Address Potential Impacts from the Participation in Government Domestic Debt Exchange. It restarted on the 5th of December 2022. The government of Ghana launched the Domestic Debt Program for a voluntary exchange of holdings of domestic notes and bonds of the Republic, including that of the ESLA and Dache bonds, for a package of a new bond to be issued by the Republic. Now, the exchange includes treasury bills in totality and old bonds held by individuals. Now, the Bank of Ghana encourages all banks to fully participate in the debt exchange program. The Bank of Ghana is also conducting a stress test on all banks based on their holdings of the domestic public debts and has estimated a potential impact that could result from participation in the debt exchange. Now, to help manage these potential impacts and also to help preserve financial stability, the Bank of Ghana has designed the following regulatory reliefs for banks who participate fully in the debt exchange program to run. So here are some of the measures being rolled out by the Bank of Ghana. First of all, there's a reduction in cash reserves requirement ratio CRR to 12% on GHC deposits. There's also the maintenance of the cash reserve itself of 12% on foreign currency dominated deposits to be held in foreign currency. There's also the reduction of capital conservation buffer from 3% to 0%, effectively reducing the capital adequacy ratio from 13% to 10%. Now, new bonds will also be fully deductible in determining the financial exposure of the banks to counterparties under Section 62(8) of the Banks and Specialized Deposit Taking Institutions Act. And as part of it as well, we know that there'll be an increment in allowable portions of property revaluation gains for Tier 2 capital computation from 50% to 60%. And then finally, issuance of guidance on standardized accounting treatment of debt exchange impact will also be carried out by external auditors. So banks are expected to obviously submit some data on that and there are more directives that the central bank is giving on that. So let's take you through, of course, Ghana's position at the time we last went to the IMF. Work by a research team shows we're actually going weaker now than we were back in 2015 when we started. So let's just get you a sense of what it is that we're dealing with in 2015. It's on your screens right now. So you look at some of the comparative studies there talking about the status of selected economic indicators before an IMF program, 2015 versus 2017. So in terms of the indicators, look at our inflation rate, for instance. It was 16.76% back in 2015 as of April, but the situation is really dire now. As of April this year, we're, of course, somewhere around the range of 23.6%. It's even doubled because as we speak now, we're somewhere over 40% as of October. The depreciation of the currency is nothing to write home about, quite close to what was happening back in 2015. As of April 2015, it was somewhere around 16.9%. It's worse now, 54.2% currently as of November. But if you compare it to the same year-on-year depreciation, minus 15%, that's how much we're doing in terms of our depreciation. But when it comes to the GDP growth, we're growing a bit faster in 2015, of April of 2015, as compared to what's happening now. Our growth slowed somewhere as of April, but we're beginning to pick up at 4.8% as of the second quarter. So comparatively, slightly higher now as we speak, but it slumped in April of this year. But for our domestic debt, which is part of the reasons why government is running the debt exchange program, you find that in 2015, we're around the range of 88.4 billion Ghana cedis. But fast forward, April 2022, that has significantly shot up by over some 300 billion Ghana cedis. So, and of course, as of April, we're dealing with a debt of 388.1 billion cedis. The situation is worse now. There's an add-on of about 100 billion, and we're shooting somewhere around to 467.4 billion. So quite a dire situation for us as a country. And if you take the other profiles on the screens right now, it's clear that we're going in weaker as a country. Joining me now via Zoom is Professor Williams Deborah, Associate Professor of Finance at the Andrews University. Thank you, Prof, for joining us all the way from the United States. So you have a clear picture of what's happening to our economy, and you look at us now going to the IMF, and I'm just wondering if we'll first of all ever get a deal that fast as is being projected. The projection is the first quarter of next year. Is that feasible?
Very much for calling me. I think that in a record time, Ghana will be among one of the countries that will be receiving IMF program in the shortest possible time. From the time that the government admitted that we are having some liquidity challenges leading to solvency challenges, or let me put it, the country cannot service its debt. The government did it in a very short period. This has put some pressures on IMF, especially because they view Ghana as an important country within the sub-Saharan Africa. Ghana is an example for a lot of countries. So that is why we have seen that within 3 months, we have gotten to this stage of staff level agreement. If you compare Ghana's situation to Sierra Leone, to other major countries like Sri Lanka, our discussion duration has been the shortest. So at this stage, what the team will be looking out for that greater debt transparency situation. That is, the country will be putting the full scale of our debt situation to the team that are looking at the books now. And Ghana must disclose all the debts we have in terms of debt owed by government agencies, debts that government has given guarantees for, arrears that statutory arrears that the government is owing agencies, and all these things will be put together. And I'm sure this is what has been done, and that is normally termed as the sustainability analysis. And once this is done, the next level is contractual innovation activity. This requires the government to be able to coordinate and talk to all creditors. And when we say creditors, it includes people government owes or people who have purchased government securities, as we have noticed with the local bond market. So they are seeing what government has done in terms of the bond. It's a mixture of debt reprofiling and debt restructuring. Government has reprofiled the duration of all the local bonds, and government has also restructured these debts in terms of reduction in the coupon rate or interest payments. The effects that we are seeing during contractual innovation is that you will see a lot of creditors or people who have purchased government securities like government insurance organizations, trade unions, pension funds. Everybody will be agitating that they will not agree. And they are not in agreement because it is going to affect in finance what we call the net present value of their investment. Or let me put this in a simple way, they were not going to realize the expected income that they needed to have should they maintain on the bond that they were having. So this is the major challenge. Normally, IMF will require that the coordination activities with creditors will take about a year. But our government has done it within, by 19th of December, this must be done. So this is where we are having this major challenge coming in. That is why a lot of companies are saying, or organizations are saying that they will not buy into the government on restructuring and reprofiling agenda. This is really because these companies, these entities, they need time to strategize on how to mitigate their losses. But the way government presented it did not give them the opportunity to come out with that kind of reprofiling. So that is why we are seeing that insurance companies are saying that this is going to affect them. It's going to affect them because their net present value of investment is going to suffer. When we come to the banking sector, luckily this time I'll give a plus to the regulator or the central bank. They have been able to come out very early to give an assessment of the banking sector situation. So now it is known that the banks are going to suffer what we call in 2023, their income is going to be reduced because they are not going to receive interest income from bonds. We know that about 56% of the bonds, local bonds, are held by banks. And this is really going to affect the operation activities of the bank. So what the central bank has done is to reduce the reserve requirements, or let me put it, the money that the banks must keep anytime they want to do business. So the central bank is giving them some bit of liquidity to operate. A major impact of this announcement from the Bank of Ghana is the non-payment of dividend to shareholders indefinitely. The word that they put there is indefinitely, which means that from 2023 till when the governor sees that the banking sector is solid and firm enough, they will allow shareholders to get dividend. This is really going to affect, one, the stock exchange, because the share prices of some banks are going to reduce. A lot of people invest in shares or these banks because of dividend. So if dividend payments are not going to come, it's going to cause a reduction in the prices of the bank. So I'm sure the regulator on the Ghana Stock Exchange may have to also pay attention to what happens there.
Okay, Prof.
If they
What's
see,
your impression, by the way, about the debt exchange program as we're running it here in the country?
I mean, so the current situation is very critical for government. So by June 2023, the central government was going to pay 43 billion Ghana cedis in terms of bond payments to local bondholders. This is the only, to me, a debt restructuring and reprofiling is the only option for the government, and that is what they have done. That if not, the government will not be able to pay these bonds when they become due. They will default. So it is a strategy to come about with how to prevent a default. The indication is that general economic activities are going to drastically slow down. We expect that companies that will buy into this arrangement will take some losses, which is going to really affect their operations. That's why I've gone back to the point that we are seeing that they are refusing to accept the current situation. The structure that government has put in place by giving some kind of liquidity support to companies that will suffer major losses is also good, and it's a kind of a buffer to make sure that the economy or the financial activities in the country does not suffer a drastic shutdown. So, in simply put, government is trying to find a way to be able to structure its debt payments, and this is the only way I think that they can do it. In other countries, these are the only strategies: you reprofile your debt or you restructure your debt. So this is also Jamaica use this approach, and I'm sure it's something that will help them.
All right then, Professor Williams, Professor Associate Professor of Finance at the Andrews University, thank you for joining us here on The Pulse. We can now hear from the Ghana Insurance Association, which is seeking an exemption from the program. President of the group, Seth Caprice, has been speaking at a news conference earlier today.
If you decide to go and buy a fender, the steering rack, the bumper, and in component parts, the total that you use to acquire it is in excess of the 32,000 you might sell a new vehicle for you. So it is indeed a difficult situation that we have to continuously bring out monies to be able to replace parts for our insureds. Our position on Ghana's domestic debt exchange is that in light of these issues that I've just put out, the accrued interest on government of Ghana bonds should be paid to insurance companies to enable them pay claims that have already crystallized. Insurance companies must be exempted from the domestic debt exchange. In uncertain times like this, entities must protect their assets through insurance, which is a key risk management.
Apologies for that, but Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has survived a vote of censure in Parliament, but will he survive a revolution in his own political party? Well, that's the question on the lips of many as MP for Anyasotum, Dr. Distin Adoma Kisi urges President Akufo-Addo to honour an agreement he had with 98 NPP MPs to sack the embattled minister. After talks with the IMF and the budget is fully passed, the NPP MPs have come under heavy criticism after they walked out on a censure process yesterday that could have achieved the same result. Well, they've been defending their actions.
As the Speaker said yesterday, a path to censure procedurally and nothing concrete. And we've just tested it now. And it makes room for adjustment in our, what do you call it? Not the Constitution per se, but even the standing orders that we use. This would inform and advise us in terms of what we need to put down for censorship. And I think that my only thing is that the ad hoc committee should have had a very clear decision. And that clear decision should have been that the grounds were not proven or did not stand the test of time, and that by that they think that censorship through this is not apt, is not adequate. It doesn't meet the metrics of or the threshold. You know, in our local community, if you are dethroning, there are sins that warrant dethroning a chief, and I must say that the sins that they brought do not warrant dethroning a chief, and that is what the litmus test. I'm a chemistry man. The litmus test, was negative, and remains negative, and history will be the best judge. But I really still think strongly that I will be on the side of history as a member of Parliament for Anyaso Tum that says that the censorship grounds did not meet the level that would have gained my support.
Let's speak to Kweku Asante, our parliamentary correspondent. And Kweku, it appears that the NPP side is divided on what's happening. Give us updates. Kweku, if you can hear me, just give us updates on the reports of divisions within the NPP side.
Well, Blender, if you can come again.
I'm just asking for the latest on claims that there's division within the NPP side.
So there are those who are suggesting that there are many NPP MPs who are not very happy about the decision by their leadership to have them to abstain, or as it were, just walk out of that vote. Some of them thought that they could have stayed on the floor, and even if the majority's thinking was that they should not vote for the censure motion, they could have still voted against it. And that leaving while the censure motion was being discussed was a bit awkward, and it doesn't portend so well for the majority side. But of course, the argument by the majority leadership has always been that this is a secret ballot. And if MPs from the NPP side are allowed to go in there to go and vote, you may never know what they will do in secret. And so the party thought it safe to simply just ask them not to vote. And so there's that kind of division, but they are preparing over it to say that this is something that has already happened. We need to move on, and we need to protect the caucus from some of these challenges.
It's been a day after, of course, the minority side lost their votes. What's the reaction and the mood in the House generally?
This morning, the minority MPs, charging up their majority colleagues and saying that what they did was shameful, and that they did not put the interest of the nation at heart. They just went on to put their narrow political interest first by deciding that they were going to walk away from that vote. And so that was the kind of conversation that were happening at the coffee shop. It was around that time that I spoke to Dr. Caprice. He's a member of Parliament for Anyaso, part of the 98 NPP MPs who say they want Kenoforiata to be sacked. And he said that there are so many ways to kill a cat. Despite they walking out on that censure motion, they are hopeful that the President of the Republic, Akufo-Addo, will actually hold himself in terms of the bargain they had with him to sack the minister after the IMF talks are concluded and the budget processes are wrapped up.
Is the minority making another attempt at trying to achieve the same results they failed at yesterday?
In terms of the censure motion, our understanding is that the minority leadership are putting any eyes on any plans to move any such new censure motion. But they do not, completely overrule that decision that they could take some of their decision in the future. Parliament is just set to go on break on the 21st of this month. But next, in January when they return and the economic situations are the same, they are not ruling out filing another censure motion. But they say that they are open to using any other means to frustrate the business of the finance minister to ensure that he himself walks out of the rule.
Kweku Asante is our parliamentary correspondent. You're still watching The Pulse. We'll be back after this break. And you're welcome back to The Pulse. He's one of the sharp and loudest communicators of the opposition National Democratic Congress. After years of Leading the party's Ashanti Regional Youth Wing, Broja Jemfi says it is time for him to take over the youth wing at the national level. He says he is the party's best bet to build a resilient youth wing that can help the NDC wrestle power from the New Patriotic Party. Ahead of that crucial national delegates conference, Kwekwa Santi of our political desk shares a light on Broja Jemfi, who's seeking to oust the incumbent George Opariado.
It is one of the contests analysts have said will be keenly and fiercely contested. The fight for NDC's National Youth Wing top job is coming down between Broja Jemfi and incumbent George Opariado. Broja Jemfi says he has what it takes to lead the NDC youth to help return to power in 2024.
We have presented a very timid youth front, which is not good for us as an opposition, but the posture is not what Ghanaians want to see. Very weak. We need to change that face.
A part of his activities in the limelight has been leading demonstrations, which has cast him in a battle with the police on several occasions.
The police has acted in bad faith from the beginning of our engagement with them, and we think that what happened yesterday was predetermined. And if you see the actions of the police, it was very clear that they didn't want the demonstration to happen.
Broja Jemfi says the topmost agenda is to build a resilient youth wing for the NDC.
And if you check me, 5-point agenda for 10. One of it is to build a credible national database for the party in terms of tertiary students at Omoye NDC for. In doing that, we must develop a single national ID card for every 10 member. To say party, say ufa party card, obi olojokuku. Now they compare obi o China paga. Just by removing the card, obi abon say we NDC card. When we do that, you better synchronize. Now every party member, including 10 members, be reduced once.
He alleges a ploy to remove from the party's delegates list loyalists of his who are 10 executives.
I will not do anything that will affect the image of the party. But say 10 for Antoine, national youth election, embassy must have a database. The party must have a database.
He has already gotten support from some party bigwigs, including MPs, and will be counting on them when the delegates go to the polls. For JoyNews, Kwekwa Santi.
And the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly has launched the second annual report on road safety alongside measures to curb road traffic deaths. The report includes vital technical strategies and essential data from police crash records, which indicates that pedestrian knockdowns account for some 76% of road fatalities in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi. The Nabuachi Dankwa Yardom has more in this report.
The Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly report on road safety is in collaboration with the Bloomberg Philanthropies Initiative for Global Road Safety. The report indicates about 76% of road traffic deaths in Kumasi were pedestrian knockdowns. The pedestrian fatalities were mostly caused by pickups, buses and minibuses. A representative of the Kumasi Mayor, Kojo Akuyamwa Boateng, indicated the crestfallen feeling that comes anytime the record of traffic death rises. He cited the year 2021 as the beginning of a new decade of action for road safety.
There is a phone call or a knock on the door that we all dread, one in which we are told that a loved one has been killed or seriously injured in a traffic crash. We shiver as emergency vehicles speed past us on the road to attend to crash situations. Our hearts miss a beat as we hear stories of road crashes on the news.
Regional Technical Advisor of Africa Road Injury, Raphael Ewa, also observed the consistent increase in road traffic death in Kumasi since 2016.
First is that the findings have shown that there's a consistent increase in the number of reported deaths in Kumasi since 2017. It's been on a very consistent increase, and so that's why we should be concerned. And as noted during the program, many of these deaths go unreported. So to see that for the reported death, we see a consistent decline since 2017, it's a worrying trend.
Kinsley Rekon, Road Safety Coordinator at KMA, says findings of the report will guide strategies to attain a significant reduction in road fatalities.
Agency stakeholders who are in the jurisdiction of that area or corridors, you have to inform intervention based on the findings for the report. For example, we've noticed that 6 out of 10 pedestrians crashes are caused by pedestrian fatalities. So with this, what are we going to do? The corridors notice, for example, PB bypass, what are they doing there? Maybe there are technical areas they can look at. It can be engineering, it can be enforcement, it can be other activities. Yes, so all what this road safety report is telling us, what we have to do, and anything which we can do to limit fatalities and serious injuries.
Nana Boachi Dankoyadom reporting for JoyNews.
And now, with barely 3 weeks to Christmas, one would expect that sales of clothes or fashion apparel will boom in the marketplace. However, vendors of fashion apparel are lamenting the and the slow turnout of sales. Amwa Nketia and Safari Joyce went to the Kantamanto market to engage with traders and our report.
Kantamanto is one of the biggest market centers in the country, where one can afford both retail and wholesale clothes at a cheaper price. It is therefore not surprising that people travel far and near for shopping in the market. But something has changed in recent years. Traders in the business say Kantamanto is no more the Donkumi market we know. They lament the high prices of fashion apparel and slow sales and blame it on various contributory factors. They say the cedi depreciation and its performance against the dollar and other major trading currencies has affected sales this festive season.
Prices of things have changed. Things we used to pay less for, we pay more now. The rise of the dollar and other trading currencies has affected the prices.
Last year by this time, market now is busy, but
some say the preference for online shopping has in some way affected their clothing businesses because they don't do delivery and online advertisement.
Market now almost say last year this year. Last year no, Oba Chrome now ton kakrebim poa because of said obesi atodora and now unim sebia eye.
We've been working with online vendors. People who work in offices do not have the luxury of time to walk in and purchase clothes unless the online vendors advertise and deliver the clothes to them. This has reduced the number of people who walk in to buy.
It is no news that the cost of fuel has affected everything in the country, and the clothing business is not left out. The vendors assert the high cost of fuel is having adverse effects on the prices and sale of clothes. They claim the people are not buying due to the high prices.
Although the cost of fuel has been reduced, transportation remains the same.
Meanwhile, some customers say they prefer to buy clothes at wholesale prices at Kantamanto and in turn sell them online and deliver them to people who cannot travel to get these clothes.
I do online business and I see that to be faster and easier for me. And moreover, it's convenient for those of us who don't have time. That means we can do the marketing online anytime, anywhere we are. So that's why I prefer the online business.
I won't post this for 50 cedis, the price at which I bought it here, but rather 80 cedis because the cost of transportation is high.
But let's not forget that e-commerce in the fashion industry comes with this snag. Having heard of what I ordered versus what I got, this is subject for another day.
Brace yourself to pay more for chicken this festive season because the Ghana Poultry Farmers Association is estimating an upward adjustment in the price of your favorite protein source. Poultry, initially selling at 55 Ghana cedis 2 weeks ago, now sells at 70 Ghana cedis on the market. However, the current price is expected to inch up before Christmas. President of the Ghana Poultry Farmers Association, Vincent Osu J, attributes the increasing cost to the expensive poultry feed and pharmaceuticals. There's more in the following report.
Chicken is enjoyed in most Ghanaian homes as a protein accompaniment to their favorite local meals, including fufu and rice and other continental dishes. It is the cheaper protein alternative to other meat sources. But the live chicken, eaten largely on festive occasions like Christmas, will see a marginal increase at most vending points.
As for Christmas, you have to give Ghanaians the fresh and healthy chicken.
Vincent Owusu is president of the Ghana Poultry Farmers Association.
The brown one, the layer, as of now, we've priced it at 70 cedis per bed, the brown one. The white one, I mean the broiler, in fact, it will depend on the weight. That's why we cannot give any price for it.
With only a few days until the Christmas holidays, prices of both the broiler and layer breed have already increased on the market. Abna Boachewa sells poultry at the Ija market.
First, nearly G60. They say, they say 70 cedis. White one, no, we first nearly 65. They say 100 cedis.
Prices of poultry have seen nearly a 100% increment during the same period last year.
Last year, by this time, not 35. And I'm saying, okay, by this time, they're not call 40. To Christmas, mean age now 40. To after Christmas, no, and I call 45. To this year, they're cost too much.
The exorbitant cost of feed and medicines for the upkeep of the animal are attributable to the ballooning price of chicken.
If you look at the cost of production, I mean a ton per feed, which was 1,500 Ghana cedis per ton, is now 6,700 Ghana cedis. The percentage is too huge, and this is affecting the poultry industry.
For vendors here, the imminent price increment would mean a bad market for the season.
They say no near bar because of say 50, I go 55 per, I go 60, 70 per copeno. Well, our background now when you're ready, sir. To buy a senior makeup, Samba. After Christmas and a day, and a back off from Kra. Because one to me, I could go back best 75 metako back and some not to talk no.
Regardless of the economic turbulence facing the country, are you willing to enjoy your scrumptious and succulent chicken this festive season? From here at Ija for JoyNews, my name is Emmanuel Bright-Kweku.
And I'm just wondering what other options you have. You're still with us here on the polls. We'll be back shortly. To our earlier story, where we indicated that the cost of poultry has shot up 70 Ghana cedis is the new cost for many of the local and sometimes some of the foreign breeds. But let's get more on this from the National Poultry Farmers Association. Victor Oponge is president of the group. Thank you, sir, for your time here on the polls. So it's going to affect definitely the purchasing power of many. But what options are you considering in trying to at least give a discount in this festive season? And of course, as we work to get the president of the National Poultry Farmers Association on the lines, don't forget as well that you also are on the lookout for some cheaper sources. Well, let's find out more from Victor Oponje, who's president of the group, is on now. Thank you, Mr. J, for your time here on the polls. So I was just asking if you are still trying to find time in this difficult period to try and get some discounts for many of your customers who are out there and maybe willing to purchase more this festive season. Mr. J, we're having a bit of a challenge hearing you. If you could just reposition yourself and come clear. Hello, Mr. J. We're not having a good connection to the President of the National Poultry Farmers Association, Victor Opong J. You're still with us here on the polls. And by the way, if you've not heard, of course, the prices of poultry is up in some parts of the country. The reports you just saw earlier, there are indications that you may have to pay more for these products. But unfortunately, we've lost Victor Opong J there. We'll definitely reconnect and get back to that conversation. Before a girl will be able to buy fish from a canoe, unless she exchanges meat with fish, unless you are the girlfriend, you never get fish to buy in any canoe. These were the words of the president of the National Fish Processors and Traders Association, Regina Solomon, who was narrating the sort of abuse women go through in the fishing sector. She was speaking at the Deba to commemorate 16 days of activism against gender-based violence organized by the USAID in Keta in the Volta region.
According to the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, about 48% of females in Ghana have been sexually abused, while 32% have faced at least one form of violence. A report conducted by USAID also identified that incidents of sexual exploitation, abuse and harassment are common in Ghana's fishing sector. As part of activities to commemorate 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, USAID organized a float and Deba in Keta to raise awareness, educate and advise fisher folks against gender-based violence. Speaking at the Deba, the president of the National Fish Processors and Traders Association, Regina Solomon, highlighted some of the abuses suffered by women in fishing communities.
Before a girl will get a fish to sell at any canoe, unless it changed meat with fish. Maybe it's a girlfriend or something of that. If not girlfriend, you will never get a fish to buy in any canoe unless you are a girlfriend. When they put you into pregnancy way, they don't care for you. The fish that you give is what you take care of you. It's going on everywhere that it makes the small girls marry the older people having the canoe because he wants fish. And the fish brothers too, when he gets old, he gives his child, about 15 years child to the canoe owner or the fisherman because he wants the fish. So the violence based in the fishing industry is getting bad in the bad stop.
The USAID Economic Growth Office Director, Paul Plever, underscored the roles of stakeholders in ending gender-based violence.
I encourage you all to do just that. Unite, take action, be an advocate, a helper, and a voice against abuse. USAID and the U.S. government are pleased to embark on this journey with you. Today, let us celebrate. Let us speak up, speak out, and build awareness. Together, it is possible to end violence.
The Keta Municipal Chief Executive, Emmanuel Gemegan, appealed to USAID to support the Assembly undertake education, health, agriculture, women empowerment and water transport projects to enhance the livelihoods of fisher folks to curb gender-based violence.
It is our expectation that when there is a great improvement in the areas listed above, families will be able to enjoy better standards of living, and the issue of grave gender-based violence will be minimized, as well as ensuring that there is female empowerment.
This year's 16 days of activism against gender-based violence was themed United, Activism to End Violence Against Women and Girls. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Keta.
And back to our earlier story, poultry prices are up. National Poultry Farmers Association's president, Victor Point J is joining us via phone. Thank you, sir, for your time. So I was just asking if you're having any plans for this Christmas in terms of at least giving a discount. It may be a difficult time for doing business, but of course, we need to celebrate as well. You agree? Mr. J, if you can hear me, I'm just asking if you have any plans, at least, although you're in a difficult time, just to try and discount your prices. You're still with us here on The Pulse. We'll be back after this break. Please stay. Ghana is gradually becoming a lazy country where prioritizing theoretical Christianity over productivity. Inspector General of Police Dr. George Akufo-Dampare wants Ghanaians speaking at the annual Thanksgiving service organized by the Jospon Group of Companies in partnership with Zoom Lion. He further admonished Ghanaians to stop expecting God to do everything for us, but rather put in some effort. He also added that there's little to no discipline in Ghana, hence the need for a change.
It's a theoretical Christianity we have been practicing and virtually allowing spirituality to lead our physical and flesh. That should rather push, the spirituality should rather push it, but now we are reversing. Spirituality is leading everything, and our practical freshness to accomplish things is lacking behind. That is why we want to spend all the time praying and doing little in terms of practically imparting lives. We want to go to church on Sunday, and every other day of the week there is one church activity or the other, and what it gets to is the point that we become more spiritual theoretically than spiritual practically, and therefore, as a result, a lot of the things that are supposed to be accomplished for us individually and collectively and as a nation to be on top and be bigger than where we are today and be more prosperous than where we are today is lacking behind. And this is making Christianity unattractive. We are gradually becoming lazy and wanting God to do virtually everything for us after we have prayed. Even sickness that we need to send, ask the doctors to take a look at us, we want God to heal us miraculously. Then why did we even train doctors? Everything, we want God to do it for us. But God has given us everything that we need to fix everything in this world because of the brain power. And all what you have to do is to back up with a prayer, and the prayer will move the brain power to create the ideas, and the ideas will then generate opportunities, and the opportunities will create jobs and bring prosperity. We say no, we need to wake up. And the waking up bit of it, which goes to all of us, is premised on discipline. As a people, our discipline level, when you calibrate and measure it, we all should confess to it that it's not there yet. You drink water in a sachet, in a bottle, you dump it on the street because my big brother is there. And our level of indiscipline can be felt even in death. You go to our cemeteries and we have either intentionally or by design decided to make sure that every grave is looking somewhere else. There is no orderliness. And that is the climax of the level of indiscipline that our society has become.
Let's focus elsewhere. The dilapidated state of school structures, poor road network and abject poverty are preventing pupils at in Kwantapong DA Primary School in the Bosomifero district of the Ashanti region from accessing good education. Isaac Aining, a 32-year-old teacher and philanthropist, says the school is undertaking efforts to mitigate condition, but his interventions are not enough to offer a good future to the children. Abigail Owusu-Bonsu made a trip to Nkwantapong School and found this report.
The school sits in the enclaves of Bosome-Frehon district, the Ashanti region. We are speaking to Isaac Akosiabayao, a teacher in this community school, about the current situation in this community. Isaac Enin has been teaching pupils in classes 5 and 6 at the Nkwantapong DA Primary School since March 2018. His appointment to the school as a teacher came as a shock when he realized the critical state he had to function.
I was watching Adum TV news. In one of their bulletins, they were saying that there is a community in Bosome-Frehon for the first time. They have seen car. So I asked myself, do we have a community in Ghana here? The kids have never seen car before. As a teacher, being posted to this place, in the first place, it's not easy to be posted here. And most of our colleagues, they didn't come because of the condition. They will come and then spy here, go, and will never come back.
He explains most pupils come to school on empty stomach and pay low attention to their studies, which jeopardizes their academics.
They were true ones. They were not coming to school. I asked one of them, have you eaten? She said, no, I'm hungry, sir. And I said, why? Were you not giving money when you were coming to school? She said, no, my mom says she has left some plantains home. So when it's break time, we should come and cook and eat. So that's what some of them were doing. They will go home and will never come back to school again.
The pupils lacked any source of drive, with education materials unattainable, no shoes and torn uniforms. Bad road conditions have compelled commercial drivers to reject travels to Nkwantapong. Isaac says students walk long distances to attend school daily.
They have to walk every day distance to the down there, the other town, to continue their JHS education, and which is affecting them because of the distance. Sometimes when it rains, they have to stay home.
The school is crippled with open classrooms, broken and hanging roofs, uncompleted classroom blocks, and death-trapped toilet facilities.
About 2 weeks, I was almost died. Snake, a big one.
Auntie Agi has her 2 grandchildren in Nkwantapong DA Primary School. She says the situation has compelled teachers to either abandon the school or report late to class. Nyame Lawrence is the head teacher. He says several requests have been sent to authorities concerning the situation at the school, but yielded no results.
And always the GC promised us to re-establish the school for us, but I think we paid that yes. 3 times that we have comforted the GC.
Mr. Isaac Enin donates clothes and shoes to replace the worn-out shoes of his people. He launched the Yogurt Day to award and motivate pupils who attend school for the full week. The right to basic education is guaranteed by the Constitution. Unfortunately, the manifestation of this right is questionable in Nkwantapong. The community is pleading with the government to come to their aid. Reporting for Joy News, Abigail Owusu-Bonsu.
And many teachers over the years refused posting to Mamfi for EP Basic School in the Central Town District of the Volta region. Those who accept postings there must travel several kilometers to school on a daily basis. This is because there's no accommodation for them in the community, and this has impacted teaching and learning. To avert a future decline in academic activities and performance of the public, the youth of the area decided to contribute their widow's mite to build a teacher's bungalow. And JoyNews Joy Prime's latest feature titled Building a Village Dream with my colleague Emmanuel Giveno. The team actually visited the community and filed this report.
A busy day at Mamfi Amfoe, a farming community in the Central Town District of the Volta region. The laborious efforts of the workers involved in this building will not be compensated. They are eager to finish this project so they can attract teachers to their community and raise the standards of education. Because of the deprived nature of the community and the poor accommodation, many teachers refuse to accept postings to the EP Basic School, which serves over 400 pupils. The chief of Mafi Amfoe, Todbidra Abuetaka IV, is concerned about the poor state of education in his village.
Last 2 years or so, the school performed poorly, very, very poorly. And we attribute all these things to teachers living outside the communities. So it has affected the teaching and learning of the pupils.
Teachers who accept postings to Manfiafua travel long distances to school every day.
The nature of the road, they come, Togbi and his elders have to be looking for accommodation for them. 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month. They are discouraged. And some of them go and they don't come back again. So it's affecting the teaching and learning in the community. People have to travel about 15 kilometers from Sogah or about 5 kilometers because there is no accommodation there. They high room over there and come down to teach here. At times, because of the transport problem, they delay in coming.
Civic. Again.
To attract more teachers and halt the further decline in the academic performance of the pupils, the youth of the community decided to contribute 10 cedis monthly to buy building materials for a bungalow. Skilled workers in the town offer their services for free. Wafa Sedbe is excited to be part of this project.
It is the youth that came together and then they form a WhatsApp group, and through that they said if you know you are from this community, whether living here right now or not, you have to contribute something every month. So the money they have contributed every month, that makes them started this project. Actually, we can't say the government should do everything. If we should say the government should do everything, our children's, their performance will still be going down.
Lucky Fiawoyipe is a pupils teacher at Manfiafua, but he is not so lucky. Due to the lack of residential facilities there, he travels several kilometers to school. Having to embark on this journey daily troubles him, and the recent hike in fuel prices has compounded his woes. On a rainy day, the roads are rendered unmotorable, so Lucky is unable to make it to school.
It's difficult for us simply because we do commit too from our various community coming to the school, because we are not living in the community, and therefore most of the times when we are coming, the road to is unmotorable. So whenever it rains, you can't go through the muddy roads. Sometimes you have to stack or fall, or our dresses become dirty.
Mr. Fiawoyipe shares how the situation is impacting education at Manfi Amfoe.
Children also do come to school later because we are not in school, because they look at us before they come to school. So we have to chase them to come and sweep, sweeping, cleaning all the campuses and other places before rather that we have eaten into time, and therefore it makes our learning very late. Sometimes you have to start our lesson around 9 o'clock due to the nature of the road and then the lateness of the people coming to school. Etanya, ways of claiming our rights. Ways. Yeah, we tried our accommodation in the community, but we couldn't find it. Some of us couldn't find it because the accommodation in the community is very scarce. Sometimes they will give it to you. You have to finish it up, buy the materials to finish it up. So if you don't have money, you can't do it. So that's our problem. So it's compelled some of us to stay in our communities before coming to school.
So the youth decided that no, the small money they have, they should use it to start teachers' bungalow, so that the teachers can stay in the community and teach their pupils very well. So that at least in the evening, those who will be facing some challenges in learning, we can organize some evening classes for them.
According to the youth, the 4-bedroom facility will go a long way towards enhancing teaching in the school, but they fear the facility may not be ready before the start of the next academic year. They are, however, appealing to philanthropists, non-governmental organizations, and the government to augment their efforts.
The money they have contributed is not enough, and while this work have also started, most of the money and all the capital has gone already. So the one who that left for the completion of the building is very huge. Look, even the building is at the window level. So we need a lot of money again.
A lot of money to complete the project. They have that courage, and we also encourage them. I want to use this opportunity to appeal to this assembly, the MP and the philanthropists, those NGOs who can come to their aid for this project to complete, so that our teachers can stay in the community and teach our children for us.
The chief and people of Manfiafua are dedicated to raising funds to finish this project, to attract educators and safeguard the future of their children. Emmanuel JoyNews reports for Joy Prime.
Now, Deputy Minister of Roads, Stephen Jalula, has reinforced the call on the citizenry to be prepared to pay more at the tolls ahead of the planned resumption of the toll collection on the country's roads. The government, in the 2022 budget, abolished the collection of tolls on all roads in the country. However, in the 2023 budget, the government has reintroduced it. The Deputy Minister indicated the government makes about 78 million per annum from road tolls, which is woefully inadequate for road development. He encouraged Ghanaians to pay more if they want more road infrastructure when the roads tolls are reintroduced.
Every government comes out with policies from time to time, and the policy of the government in 2022 was that we should make road tolls zero rated. It means that we were supposed to suspend the collection of toll booths on our public roads and bridges. Now, the government has come back again in 2023 budget to say that we are going to reintroduce tolls collections on selected public roads and bridges, and deploying technology. As I said earlier, the saloon cars paid 50 pesos. Today, 50 pesos is money, but it's not enough for us to see the development we want to see in the road sector. So it's logical that we will want an increase in the toll rates more than what we used to have, so that unless we will mobilize enough money to be able to repair our broken roads and even to develop new roads for the people of Ghana. So if we don't pay, we shouldn't expect good things to come from the state, because the state doesn't manufacture money. The monies come from we, the citizens. So it is up to us whether to pay more and get quality, or not to pay and not have good roads. Before we stopped tolls collections, we were getting an average of 78 million Ghana cedis per annum. 78 Ghana cedis cannot construct 10 kilometers of asphalt road in Ghana. You see? So it means that we were not getting enough. And out of the 78 million, we paid salaries of toll workers. So it means that we were not getting enough from the tolls.
To fix the economic mess. That's the call from some Ghanaians to President Akufo-Addo as they lament the harsh economic conditions that they say is beginning to bite harder. That was top of their concerns in today's edition of People's Voice. Take a listen.
Government should work to reduce the price of goods. My transport business is almost collapsing.
Now fuel prices so intimate fuel. When you job kakra this kind of fuel. Real near si kwande. Enkoye my kra. Abani yeah,
this government hasn't done much to help.
Oh my God,
Times are hard. Right now, I can't even afford anything. Even used clothing is very expensive. People have inflated the prices of these items. These are supposed to be old stock, so why are they selling it this expensive?
This festive season will be hard for us. No one is buying from us, so we can't even buy anything. Why has government decided to freeze employment? How will my children get jobs so they can take care of me? I schooled my children on loans. How do you expect me to pay back when they can't get jobs? Government should reduce its expenditure so that they can employ our children.
I'm concerned about transport fares. Lately, you can't even budget for it. Everyone is charging what they want. I'm tired of it. They should try and reduce fuel prices so we can have some breathing space.
I went to the market to buy pampers. I couldn't afford. You can barely afford anything in the market nowadays.
Christmas is coming and the cost of living is high. In the market, people only ask for their price and move on. They can't afford it. How are we expected to cope? We are the cause of all of this. We should also help by contributing our quota.
For some of them, their SIM cards have been blocked, although they have already registered them. They want the directive to block the SIM cards to be reviewed.
I go Ghana for MTN for. See and register.
You asked us to register our SIM cards. Why have I been blocked? I can't reach my customers and others can't reach me. They should tell them to change it. I'm tired of re-registering.
SIM registration because me say me will be
They have blocked the lines of our customers. How can we sell our goods? They should do something about it.
And the same thing is a coffee. And to Mr. Ghana 24.
And that's all we have for you here on the Pulse. I'm Blessed Sogah. We'll see you again next week. Until then, let's talk showbiz. We'll come your way.